I'm Jackie.
And I'm Ashley. Welcome back to Dumb Witch Club.
Happy New Year, witches!
Happy calendar New Year.
And happy calendar New Year to my favorite witch.
Happy calendar New Year to you. Oh, that's so nice. We get a whole other year.
No. You're right. It's the calendar New Year.
Yeah.
It's not the only New Year that's possible.
No.
Like other cultures and religions, including pagan, have a different New Year.
Yeah.
But it is significant because it is the calendar, and like the number that we label the year with changes. And I think that makes it a big difference.
It does, and I don't know, it's like a little bit of like a switch of energy. It's kind of like the summer to fall little switch where you just get that little something in the air, right? That just little something where you're like, ooh, like something's on the horizon.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens here. And I like it because it gives you something to look forward to, but it doesn't just have to happen now.
Yeah, and I also, like, to the same point that you're making, I like how it just feels like, oh, there's something happening.
Yes.
It's like it adds the little, like, sprinkle into the timeline.
Yeah, the little something in the air where you're like, ooh, and you can start to, like, look forward to, like, the new things and the things coming up and whatever.
2025, yo.
That's, wow.
I know.
That part.
We already did our January energy report, so if you haven't listened to that yet or watched that, you definitely should because it's a fun one. And here we are. We're in it.
We also came up with a new title for something that we're going to continue to workshop.
Yes, well, we will continue to workshop it and see what happens. So when we do our regular Big Witch Energy episodes, we do a card pull. Isn't that right?
We do a card pull.
Let's do it. What do we have today?
I brought the Literary Witches Oracle today.
I love this.
It's so cute.
And it's appropriate.
It is appropriate.
For our episode today, in particular.
It is indeed.
I also have a very specific memory of when you first brought these to me.
Yeah.
And we were working on some stuff for our book club.
Oh, yeah.
And we did a reading with these, like, just between us, and it was so great. Yes. So anyways, I really remember that for some reason.
Oh, that was a really good time. And you never know, like, in the near future where you might see us, like, pop up again, perhaps in person.
That's true. We actually really enjoy being in person.
We do.
With each other.
Yeah, well, yeah,
obviously. But also any and all of you all.
Yeah, so that could be, like, an exciting development. Like, I mean, you see us on here. Obviously, we're so beautiful. And you're like, we just love them so much. How can we get more? Well, there may be an opportunity. We'll see. We'll see how you behave and see what Krampus says about your behavior.
I love how sure we are about all of this.
Yes, me too.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to pick... Gosh, these cards are so nice and thick.
Your nails look so pretty.
Ooh, thank you. Emily Dickinson.
You did not just... That is wild.
That is wild. Wild.
And of course, like... Okay,
reasons why is this wild, okay?
And we do have a witness to this. We have your daughter as a witness to this. So it isn't just us. Like, she will corroborate this story. We were setting up everything for tonight and sort of our aesthetic and everything. And we literally just said in the house, it's a very kind of Emily Dickinson, cottagecore but goth vibe.
Yes.
And then you choose, and okay, like, you're here. I love that for us.
Yes. And to add to that, for Christmas presents, Ashley got me this beautiful, wonderful, amazing fragrance, which actually I have been wearing every single day since you gave it to me.
I love that.
From one of our favorite, your in particular, favorite companies.
Yes. Wick Wish.
And it's called Emily Dickinson.
And it's amazing.
And it's wonderful. So, anyways...
She is so blessing us right now.
Love the lady. Just love.
I love that. That's such a vibe.
It's perfect.
Perfect vibe.
So perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Love this.
Love this. Okay. And also, like we had said, Literary Witches Oracle was so appropriate because we're going to be talking about some books today.
Yes. I'm very excited about that.
What's this episode called?
It's called See Here, Witches.
recommendations for all of y'all.
It's so cute.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be talking about are some reading and listening recommendations.
Yes.
For you all, for your enjoyment.
Yes. I love this topic. I mean, pretty much almost like all the content I consume on social media, on the internet, is people telling me what to read or listen to. And then me going and reading or listening to that other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like my whole life.
No, absolutely. And I mean, we have talked about books several times on this program and obviously in life frequently. But this whole episode is dedicated to that. And I like that we kind of brought in the listening aspect.
Yeah.
With, like, we're going to talk about some podcasts and things that we like. Because, you can't always, like, read.
No.
Sometimes you want something cool to listen to.
Totally.
So let's jump in. We're starting with books.
Yeah, we're starting with books.
Okay, you start with one of yours. Or tell me, like, how did you compile your list?
Yeah, that's a good question because I sort of went in like a theme kind of way. It just started shaping up that way.
Love.
Yeah. So I read this quote somewhere. It said, "Magic isn't what you believe, it's what you notice."
Oh.
I know. And I loved it. I really like sat with it for like a bit and I was like, yeah, like in some ways obviously it is like a belief in something, but if you really like think about that quote, it's the things that you are noticing and seeing that are like informing you actually like witnessing the magic that exists around you and that it is actually magical and that you're actually magical.
Yes, and you get to like witness that if you notice it and then it becomes part of your experience. I love it.
And then it's like in turn like begets more magic.
Exactly.
Right?
Because it is everywhere, you just have to notice it.
Exactly.
I love it.
So I loved that, and I loved that it was like a very kind of like gentle way to sort of like begin the calendar year because it's more about just kind of being open to noticing and to like allowing things to make impressions on you than really like checking boxes or like I have to like research all this before the this year starts or whatever. So I really liked that.
I love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like my approach. And my first piece that goes along with this is a book, but it's kind of a book, but it's different. It's called Boredom, an Anti-Capitalist Tool, and it is from Gender Fail Publications, which is run by B. Oakley, which is like indie publishing, like kind of like zines, essays, but then they're like in book format. Yeah. We have a few from Housewitch because Housewitch carries them.
Yeah, I was like, where do I know this?
Yeah, it's from them. We have like a few. This one I haven't actually read yet.
Love it. Still.
But I know it's going to be good because I've read a bunch of their other things and I feel like comfortable recommending it as something that's going to be good. So it's a very like, it's more of like a long form essay. So it'll be easy to read. It's not going to take you a long time to get through it. And it confronts questions around boredom and like shame with boredom and like the opportunity that you have to daydream and sort of think of things when you're forced boredom, when like you maybe have like a health issue or something like that, and you're kind of forced into a space where like boredom enters that space, and really just thinking about what that means and how we apply labels to ourselves because of that, but how we can sort of like turn it around and maybe use it for something different. Yeah, I loved it. I love the concept of it. It would be a really easy thing to kind of start off with. So that's my first recommendation.
I love that. That sounds amazing, and I would love to read it too when you're done. So
absolutely
amazing. Okay, I love this. All right, so I kind of took a different approach to compiling what I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm doing last, next, and current.
Oh, I love knowing what people... I love this.
For what I'm actually reading. Like the last thing I read, the next thing I plan to read, and then what I'm currently reading.
Yes.
So I think I'll start with the last thing I read.
Okay.
So the last book that I read, which I think you have also read.
Ooh.
It is called My Husband, a novel.
Yeah.
And this novel came out last year, or 2 years ago, I guess 2023 is now 2 years ago. It is by a French author. Her name is Maud Ventura. It's translated from French into English, which is obviously, I read it in English because I don't speak Francais. It'd be amazing probably to read it in the original language if you could. Yeah. But I think based on my experience of reading, the translation is excellent because it conveys so much. So this is a book about, well, it's narrated by this woman, and it's about sort of this, what seems to be a very anxious and bizarre codependent obsession that she has with her husband. And the story unfolds over a week. Like, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like the days or the chapters. And it's unhinged and bizarre. And then this woman, like, you kind of feel sorry for her, and then you kind of like despise her, and it's very internal narrative, very raw.
Yeah.
And then the end just makes you want to like fall over and die, basically. Like, it's
totally.
extremely intense.
It is.
Anyways, very good. Just also slight disclaimer, like, we both like to read like kind of weird
Very
things.
weird, yes.
And not everybody does.
Yeah.
And so this might not be for everyone. There's a lot of, maybe I would say, like, triggering things that happen in the novel, like to do with like relationships and infidelity and, you know, sexuality, like various things. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but it was a very impactful read. And yeah.
Yes, I love weird girl fiction. Like, it's my favorite genre. I don't even know if that's literally classified as a genre.
I don't think it technically is recognized as such.
It
but
should be.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, and I'm obsessed with it. And yes, definitely check your trigger and content warnings and all that kind of stuff, just which you normally would.
Yeah,
do.
and, you know, I mean, obviously that's for your own knowledge.
Your own thing. But I really love reading things like that, and it's a way for me to confront stuff like that I normally am like really sensitive to. Like a movie I could never, but a book I all day, like I can totally do it, and I love it because it there's something about encountering that and having the control and the way that you're kind of like taking in the information.
And this author also has a new book out. It's called Make Me Famous. Haven't read it yet, but I'm going to look for it and read it because I really enjoyed this first novel that she wrote.
Yeah, it's a great book. That's a really good recommendation. And it's still like weird and winter right now, so it's like fun to read things that are just crazy and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, like this is not, don't take this on vacation with you.
No.
Like,
no.
That's not the vibe.
No, it's not. It's not the vibe.
Not at all. So
you'll freak yourself out. Don't do
it. Especially if you're like there with your like partner or whatever. You'll be like,
like, what are you doing? They're like, what?
Yeah, no.
I'm just, what?
Seriously. Yeah, it's fascinating. So, all right, so that's my first book to mention, the last book I finished.
I love it.
What's your next one?
Okay, my next one is called Condensed Chaos. Okay, this is a little bit more of an undertaking, like slightly more of an undertaking. The first recommendation is like easy. I mean, like big ideas, but like easy, quick, you'll get through it. This one probably will take you a little bit more time to get through. It's a very theoretical type of book. So, but I wanted to recommend it because I have read this one, and a lot of times people are looking for like witchy books, but a lot of stuff you're going to encounter is very prescriptive. Sometimes you want that. I get that. But sometimes you don't. You just want to sort of like develop yourself and sort of your ideas and your opinions about your practice and what you believe and what you don't and all of that kind of stuff. And this book really allows you to do it. It's basically, like, the essential idea behind it is that all acts of personal or collective liberation are magical acts.
Yes.
It's all about mindset and the frame of mind. And this particularly goes well with, like, Pluto and Aquarius and kind of this collective shift. And a lot of us are going to be feeling that personally and going into this year kind of being like...
And, like, the rebellion that's inherent in that.
Yes.
And the need to break away from that control of the collective, right?
Absolutely. And especially when parts of it we feel like we don't have control over, or we're scared about what that's going to be. You know, we're all sort of there. And this book it's not a step-by-step process. There are no like descriptions of spells. There's no ingredients in this book. It's very much a theoretical, sort of philosophical idea of what chaos magic is.
It sounds really empowering.
Very, very, and just fascinating. A little bit of like, sometimes you're going to be like, wait, hold on. Like, ugh, I have to like absorb this for a minute. I'm not really sure. You know, a little bit of like playing like games with your mind a bit, but in a good way where you will confront like, okay, well, how do I feel about that? Or what could I do with that? How could I like turn this into something that is self-empowering?
See, that just, and I'll just say that reminds me of whenever you're reading a book or whenever I'm reading a book like that, and my sort of recommendation is, if you're starting to feel some kind of way about it, like you don't like what it's saying, like that is an opportunity for you to stop and reflect in yourself.
Yes.
Like, are you reading something that you genuinely like do not align with your values?
Right.
Or are you reading something that's challenging a belief that you have inherited that maybe actually isn't right? Or isn't for you?
Yeah.
Like, or a bias that you have internalized that you haven't confronted yet. So just stuff that's challenging like that, like, it's really good to confront.
It is. You're absolutely right. And it's very important that you bring that up, because I think, you know, and I think that this is right that we do this, but we rightfully are, our message usually to everyone watching and listening to us, all of our dumb witches, is very one of like, comfort, and you know, we want you to feel held, and we want you to feel seen and have space and all of these things, and we still really want that. But growing as a person and growing as a witch, it requires you to be uncomfortable sometimes. And if you are just constantly insulating yourself from that, you're not really going to grow. And we certainly don't want harm to come to you. That's not the idea. But it is okay to read things that you even disagree with, or to look at other sides of things, even if you know fundamentally, I'm not ever going to change my mind. It's not about changing your mind. It's about looking at things from a different perspective, and that helps you to understand your belief or your perspective even more so.
Absolutely.
So it's, you know, it is important to do that. And I think this book is also, it's not long, but it's a little bit more intense, and it is one that you can kind of, I don't think you have to like read through it in one straight shot.
Right.
You can kind of just have it as a reference book on top of the other things you're reading, and sort of just like take it as you feel you need to. It doesn't feel like homework at all. Doesn't have that vibe. So
I love the sound of that, and I'm also very interested. I'd love to read that too.
Yes, absolutely. You definitely can.
All right. So my second one, I think I'll do my current read next. So I'm currently reading this book called Hummingbird Salamander by Jeff Vandermeer. This book came out in 2021. And so just to say briefly the story of like how I started reading this book is my daughter had bought 3 books from a bookstore like near her university where she goes to school. And she brought them home, and then she wasn't going to take them with her. So they were in the backseat of my car for like a month or more. And I was going to an appointment, and I was like, I forgot to bring my book, whatever other book I was reading at the time. This is months ago. And I said, I'll just grab one of these from the back seat that she left in the car. So I just grabbed this one. I mean, really, like, just grabbed it. And I was like, just to entertain myself while I'm waiting, you know? And so I started reading it at my appointment. And I was like, what the hell am I reading? Like, this is crazy. Okay, so it's sort of a dystopian, current, but maybe slight modern, more futuristic. There's just like some different technology that exists in the world of this book than what we have now. But it's like very close, you know? It's sort of a mystery. It's sort of a thriller. But it's about like the climate.
Okay.
And it's about animals, and this book starts off, this woman gets sent a taxidermied hummingbird of a species that is extinct.
Okay.
Because in this near future, a lot of animals are becoming extinct, right?
Okay, yeah.
And she doesn't know why it was sent to her. She starts this whole investigation to figure out who sent it to her and why. And so she starts getting involved in all this like crazy stuff and this like underground stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And it's super fascinating. And so I read just a bit of it when I first picked it up, and then I brought it home and just put it down. And then about 3 weeks ago, I picked it up again, and I've been reading it ever since. I'm almost done.
Wow.
And it's taken me a little longer to read for various reasons. It's been the holidays and stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't read as much as I normally do. You could definitely read it faster than how I've been reading it. And it's very, like, enveloping.
Okay, yes.
This whole, very strange. And this woman, the character, she's kind of, like, not like a lot of other, like, lady book characters, I'll say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
It's really good.
It's more weird girl fiction.
It's pretty weird, and I don't know how it ends yet, and I'm really excited. I'm in part 3, and I'm like, what is even happening? So,
I love that.
Very exciting.
I have it written down.
So I do recommend it, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Hummingbird Salamander.
Yes.
It's freaking me out.
Yes. There's some really bizarre stuff. Like, the visions in my head that I'm remembering from part 2, I'm like, oh, Lord. Anyway, it's good.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Super good.
Okay.
All right. What's your third one?
Okay. My third one, I love this. It is a poem for every day of the year.
Oh, yes.
Or a poem for every night of the year.
Oh,
Because
yes.
there's both. There's 2 volumes, I discovered. I have a poem for every day of the year.
I love this.
Yes, I don't have the night one, but I told myself that I have to do the day one first, and then I can treat myself to the night one. Because if you're a reader, you know you have to limit yourself on these books because your house will be overrun with them. Our houses are overrun
Practically
with them.
already overrun with them.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm like, okay, I can't just get this. I have to, do this one first. It's okay to have some rules for yourself. So I set that one up for myself.
I love it.
But it's another, like, I feel like all of the choices that I made are very, like, non-prescriptive, but still, like, witchcraft adjacent.
Yeah, and they all kind of seem to have some structure about them, even though they're not prescriptive.
Right.
Yeah.
There's still structure there, but it's like you're just encountering it, and it's not like you need to do this. It's just, here's some stuff, and maybe you'll be inspired by it, and maybe you'll notice things.
But also, like, the thing that you just said, like, it is okay to have rules, especially for yourself.
Totally.
And so having a rule about I'm going to read a poem every day for even just a week or a month or the whole year.
Right.
Like, yeah, do that. Hold yourself accountable to it.
Exactly.
Like, make yourself do it. That is okay.
Mm-hmm. Totally. It's totally okay. I think it's a good thing to do.
I love it.
And I really love it too because it just went along with the theme of, like, they're poems. They are all different topics. They're all different poets.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's in there. It's just a bunch of different things. But I know that it's collected and curated to be sort of seasonal as it goes throughout the year, which that is very much a part of witchcraft and very important is that we're recognizing, the inherent beauties of the season or the hardships or whatever, just everything.
All of it.
All of it.
And from one day to the next, it's one or the other.
Yes. And so I just want to see what I notice. I just want to see what I notice. And I think, and it's beautiful. The book is really pretty too. So that helps.
I have seen it because I'm intimately acquainted with your bookshelves.
Exactly.
So I have seen it and it is remarkable. And it's so inspirational. I love this.
Yes. Yeah. Jackie's been intimate with my bookshelf.
I have been.
Don't miss that.
Yeah. Just make sure everybody heard that.
She's Libro-sexual. We both are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not, what are you doing?
That's a thing.
That is a thing.
It is.
I say it's a thing, so it's a thing.
It is the best thing. Okay. My last book that I'm mentioning, which is the next book I'm going to read, is Fruit of the Dead.
I cannot wait for you to read this.
Okay, so it's a book by Rachel Lyon. So there's a story behind this as well. So the story is, I had gone to the library, as I regularly do, and I usually pick up, at least 3 or 4 books, because I'm not trying to go, like, every week. I'm trying to, like, stack up for at least a couple weeks. And I don't normally do this part, but I was telling Ashley the books that I had gotten. I don't know why. I was just telling her.
Yeah.
And also, when I go to the library, I usually have a few things that I've either seen online as recommendations, and I look for them. Yeah. But I also just look through the shelves and randomly pick stuff up, as one does at the library. Okay, so that was the case with this book, Fruit of the Dead by Rachel Lyon. I just saw it on the shelf. I looked at it, and I read a little bit about what it was about, and I was like, okay, sounds good. Bring it home. telling her about the other book that I was going to read, and then I mentioned this one, and she's literally like, "Wait, stop, no!" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I got you that for Christmas," and I was like, "What?"
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Exact same book. Okay. I shouldn't be surprised that these things happen, and they have happened. We checked out the same Alice Hoffman book at the same time,
like 10 years ago.
10 years ago, and it happens all the time. Like I'll be like, I got this, and you're like, I just finished that, or like you'll be like, have you read this? And I'm like, yes, I literally did, or I just checked it out, or whatever. It does happen, but when you think about the sheer volume of books there are in the world, and we don't always read the same things, it's just so crazy. If you knew the synopsis, it wouldn't be crazy, because Jackie really, really loves Hades and Persephone and the story arc, and she loves it. She always has the imagery, everything. I've bought her other things that pertain to it. So if she had known that, then I'm like, well, yeah, of course she would pick that up because she knew. But she didn't know. No. I did, because I read it already. And I'm obsessed with it. I think about it like once a week. And I'm like, she needs to have this book. Like, not just, I'm going to tell her to read it. No. She needs to own this book.
And that's as like a book reader, a book lover, like, buying the book is a whole other level.
Yes.
Than getting it from the library. And I love getting it from the library because you can't, like you said before, like have 7,000 books in your house. Although we probably have close to that. So I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take it back to the library then. And I'll wait until you give it to me.
Yes.
And I'll read it after that. So that's what's next.
I can't wait. You're going to love it. I loved it, and you're going to love it with an appreciation that is so beyond mine.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited, because then we can talk about it, but also then it'll just be like part of you, and then you'll be able to think about it.
Ugh.
I know. It's so good.
I love it.
You guys should read it too. It's really good.
Yes. Okay.
Really good.
All right. Amazing. This was so much fun. All right. Let's go on to what
we're listening to. Yes.
And I did a different approach with this one. I'm just giving you stuff that I listen to. So
that's what I that's essentially what I did too.
Okay.
And it sort of kind of goes along with my theme. So the first one I'm going to talk about or recommend is a podcast called It's Always Halloween.
Hello.
Hello. And now that it's 2025, like, you can already start thinking about Halloween, like actual Halloween, because it hasn't happened yet, and it's coming. So, like, when you were thinking about Halloween in November and everyone's like, that's over, they can't say that to you anymore, because it's not over, it's coming up. Also, it's always Halloween. So if you feel like it's always Halloween, which then you should listen to this podcast. It also happens to be run and owned and managed by a very close, wonderful friend of mine, Luce.
But that is beside the point.
It's awesome anyway. It was always awesome. It was awesome before she was my friend.
Exactly.
So
it is awesome. Important, but that's not why.
But that's not why. No, it's amazing. It's cozy. It's comforting. Aww. It gives you all the Halloween feels all year round.
We need that.
We need that. You need that. It's like, it really is like a little light. Her name means light in French, and so I like always say that to her, like, you're like a little light.
Yes.
And all her listeners are like the little lanterns, and it just keeps your like little Halloween spirit, and it just makes you feel good. And you should listen to that one.
I love that. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to mention is called Creatures of the Night.
Ooh.
And this is a podcast by the Boulet Brothers.
I love this.
So, if you don't know, the Boulet Brothers are a duo of alternative drag stars, I'll just say. They have a reality show, which is called Dragula. They are just amazing. They are from the LA drag scene. They did nightlife here. Like, they were very well known. They really have, like, independently built their careers to what they are today. And it's alternative drag. So this is not Drag Race, okay?
Right.
So, like, and no shade to, RuPaul or any of, they're amazing, right? This is not that. Mm-hmm. The tenets of Dragula are drag, horror, filth, and glamour. So they are doing, like, the punk version, the horror version, the like blood version of witchy everything that you can imagine. That's just insane. So that's kind of their show, and that's them. And they are also gorgeous and just beyond gorgeous. Okay. But their podcast, they talk about their show. Of course, they do like recaps of their own show. But they also do like horror movie reviews.
Ooh, I love that.
And they do just a bunch of like cute, fun stuff, seasonal stuff. They talk to, sometimes they interview other people, like other drag artists or just people like that. But it's mainly the two of them and their co-host, who has been the producer on Dragula, Ian DeVogler. Their names are Swanthula and Drakmorda Boulay. And it's fun. It's a little creepy and spooky. And they have great personalities. And I just love them. I don't consider myself like a fangirl of literally anything.
No.
Except for the Boulay brothers. Love.
Totally.
Highly recommend. And you don't even have to watch their show to just listen to the podcast. It's really entertaining and they're really funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that we had like spooky picks too, because of course.
Have to.
Yes, have to.
Yes.
Okay, so I just have one more. And it's, I don't know if I've ever talked about this podcast, and if I haven't, I would be surprised, because it's probably one of the oldest ones I've listened to, like, period. And a couple of content creators that I've been following since before that was a thing, like probably pre-Instagram, which is a long time ago. It's called the Purple Stuff Podcast.
Oh, yes. I've heard you talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, I have. I don't think you've talked about it
I don't think I have.
Here.
I don't think I have. Purple Stuff Podcast. It's hosted by Matt from Dinosaur Dracula. That's his website and, like, his brand. And then Jay from Sludge Central, that's his brand, and he does his own like YouTube stuff, and so does Matt, and they're both like hilarious. They're friends with each other. They're from the Jersey area. They're amazing. It's a nostalgia podcast, and it's mostly focused on like 80s, some 90s, like mostly 80s content, and then some 90s content. And it is just anything you can think of.
Yeah.
Cereals. They do eBay dives for like 1992 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figurines, stuff like that.
Right.
Just anything, and it's just so comforting, and it's funny, and I love nostalgia. I'm obviously like obsessed. And it's such a nice little like slice of that with like friends that are really funny and have a lot of chemistry and are wonderful to listen to.
Imagine that.
Yes. It is one of my faves, and I've been following each of them for a really long time, so.
That is awesome.
Yes.
That's cute. Okay, I'm going to do just one more too. I'm going to do my last one. So this one is called the Big Sky Astrology Podcast.
Oh, cute.
This is hosted by April Elliott Kent. She's an astrologer, obviously. It's an excellent podcast. So I've listened to quite a few astrology podcasts. Yeah. Some I just tried out, and I was kind of like, don't care for this. Some I listen to, that I even listen to regularly, tend to be quite chaotic, okay? Yeah. Such is not the case with April Elliott Kent, okay? Also, she's a Leo, okay?
Yeah.
So,
she's on it.
You know, she's on top of it. She's
Yes.
a good personality, and it's really well written. It's really succinct. She's excellent at explaining things. So every week it comes out, and the beginning is like the week forecast, which, you know, she highlights like major things, obviously.
Right.
But then she also does, and this is really what I thought one of the unique things, she does void of course moon times. And she tells you when they are for the whole week and like what you can do or should do with that time every week. Because that's kind of one of those vague time periods that in astrology you're like, well, what do you even do with that? So she'll tell you. Anyway, it's good. And at the end, she does listener question or sometimes a mini lesson.
Oh, I love
like
that.
if there's something really big, like she did mini lessons like on the big Pluto shift and all kinds of things like that. And each episode, I don't know how she does it, is like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Like to the second. It's like 30 minutes. She keeps it so tight. She's awesome.
She's April Elliott Kent.
She is.
That's how she does it. Is she British?
She does not have a British accent. I don't think she's British. She's actually based at this point here in California in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but she talks about her life sometimes and, different things.
I love
So, yeah, I'm not too sure on that one. But she sounds very dignified. And like I said, she's a Leo. And she always pronounces it Leo.
That's so cute.
It's so cute. Anyways, love her. She's super brilliant. And I can't wait to get a reading from her because that's my next plan in 2025.
Ooh, that's amazing. Ooh, what a good goal. I love that.
Yes.
That's going to be awesome.
So y'all should listen to her.
Yes, listen to that.
And you can support her. She does a little podathon in September to get, listener support because she doesn't want ads on her show. So anyways.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, amazing. Okay.
Yay.
This episode has been so fun. Like I'm so inspired and I feel so excited about all of these things.
So do I. I love. I said this at the beginning, but I love recommendations. I love hearing what other people are doing, reading, experiencing, passionate about. Like, I'll do anything. I'll read anything. I just love just absorbing information and just a vibe. And so, yeah, I love when other people do episodes like this. So I hope everyone enjoyed this one.
Yes. And I think that's the point. Like, if you're an author or even a podcaster or if you're anything, your point, what you're trying to do is touch and communicate to other people.
Yeah.
What your experience is, what's important to you. So share in that. It's so awesome. It's
It is so
fun.
awesome. Yeah. Give us your recommendations if you think there's anything some of you have been following us for quite a while now and know our personalities really well and probably have thought oh, Jackie would love this or Ashley would think this was great.
They need to read this. They obviously have not read this.
Totally.
Let us know.
Or be recommend this to Jackie, but not Ashley because she'll freak out. So tell Ashley not to read this one. Yeah, that probably
for sure. 100%. So thank you for joining us, everyone, on this lovely little journey. And again, happy calendar new year.
Yes.
2025. Mm-hmm. Until next time.
Stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.
Dumb Witch Club is written and hosted by us, Ashley Sidner
and Jackie Gerard at the Dumb Witch Clubhouse in Orange County, California.
Produced and edited by Matt Heinemeyer. Art direction by Violet Turner. Culture consultant Jane Turner.
Original music by Ashley Sidner. Look us up on all your favorite social media platforms, including TikTok and Patreon.
Until next time, stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.